Here's a jazz bass, sort of. Fender Jazz Bass neck, made in Mexico from about 1994, and a body that is made from barn timbers from a barn that was behind a house I used to own. So the neck was given to me. I have about $100 total wrapped up in this bass. The neck was given to me for free because another musician that I know had the neck. It had frets on it. It was warped so badly it was totally unplayable, so he gave it to me. And the body, as I said, made from timbers from a barn, and the wood on the body's probably 100 years old. But anyway, the neck, I was aware of that, of the fact that I could convert the neck and make it totally playable. If I pulled the frets out, the truss rod is broken, it doesn't even work. But it doesn't matter, because what I did is I took an 8-ounce container of clear liquid epoxy, which is self-leveling, and I built up a little retaining wall, if you will, made out of masking tape that went all the way around the periphery of the neck. And then I left the neck right on the body. I set it down and used a level to get the neck as level as possible. And then I mixed the epoxy up. You know, there are two parts. I mixed them together, and I maybe used half of the 8 ounces of the clear epoxy, and I poured it in. And as I said, it's self-leveling. So what it did is the neck was warped, but the epoxy filled in the low spot and leveled itself out so that where it was, you know, so that the epoxy is thickest or deepest where the bottom of the, you know, the warp is. So what I ended up with was a very level and straight surface for playing. And then, you know, when I pulled the tape off, I then had to cut away with a razor or a knife. I had to scrape away some of the excess on the edges, but the result was a totally playable bass out of a neck that was unusable. So the point is if you're wanting to create a fretless bass for yourself without having to spend a lot of money, there are plenty of these Fender Jazz basses out there, and precision basses too, that have broken truss rods and are warped, that people think are completely useless, but they still have good value in them if you're willing to convert like this. Now on this one, I'm not going to play it right now, but here's another YouTube video that I have, which does feature me using a guitar with this bass as backing track through a Boss RC1, and so you can hear what the bass sounds like there. But the other advantage to having the epoxy surface on here is that the epoxy is harder, and it gives each note more of the buzzing attack that, you know, that's a good sound on a fretless. So that was another advantage to doing the procedure. But I basically took, you know, raw parts, and made something totally usable out of it. So once again, I appreciate your watching the video, and you know, if you like the videos, feel free to subscribe, though you have no obligation to do so, as always. Thanks.